وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد. All praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We worship Him and we seek His assistance and we ask for His forgiveness. And we seek refuge in Allah from the evil of ourselves and the evil of our own actions. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, none can lead him astray. And whoever is led astray can never be guided. And we bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, singular, no partners associated with Him. And we bear witness that Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, is His messenger and His servant. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give His salutations and His blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and to be pleased and satisfied with his companions and all those that follow his sunnah and his tradition until the day of judgment. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Dear brothers and sisters, I want you to imagine for a minute that you live in Gaza. I want you to imagine that you are physically there and your family is there and you live there. I want you to imagine that every night you go to sleep with the sound of bombs echoing through the dark night. I want you to imagine that you sleep not under a roof but under the shade of a tent. And I want you to imagine that you are rationing your own food and water. I want you to imagine that every single day you hear about a neighbor or a family member or a friend dying horrifically. I want you to imagine that every day there is a funeral, not for one or two, but for dozens and sometimes even hundreds of people that have been killed by American-made bombs. And this may be a hypothetical for us, but it's a reality for some people, that they truly live in Gaza. And I want you to imagine, if you lived in this state, how would your life be? And I don't just mean the physical aspect of your life. How would your day look? How would your relationship with your Creator be? Would you still worry about money and about careers if every single day somebody's getting bombed in your neighborhood and maybe one day it might be you? Would you still care about gossip and rumors and what did this person say and what did that person do and who did she marry and what college did he go to? Would you care about that? Let me ask you a question. Would you ever be lazy to get up and pray? Would a day go by without you making dua to Allah if you lived in Gaza? Let me ask you something. If you lived in Gaza and you've seen bodies being delivered in little shopping bags, unrecognizable as even a decent corpse, would you still sin against Allah? Would you still go against Allah's commands and do immoral and evil things, knowing that you may very well meet Allah in the next instant? If your answer is no, if your answer is your life and the way you live would drastically look different if you lived in Gaza, you need to ask yourself why. Why would I be more religious and more obedient and more humble, more moral, less evil if I lived in Gaza? And the answer is simple, because death is just a whisper away from you. But we live in America, a land of safety and opportunity, a land of health insurance and, civil society. and law and order. I'm not going to die tomorrow. I'm not going to die tonight. If I die, it will be in a hospital bed surrounded by my loved ones, and they decide when to turn off the machine. And by that point, I would have already written my will, and I have, self-actualized, and I've lived a fulfilling life, and the inheritance is taken care of, and my family will say goodbye to me, and they'll be in good hands, and they'll be safe. I've excelled in my career. I've gotten, BS and MD and PhD and whatever other jumble of letters. That's how I'll die in America. So maybe I don't have to be religious now. Maybe I don't have to be a good person now. Maybe I don't have to put my affairs in order now, because I know I'm going to live to 70, 80, maybe 90. If I have good health insurance and I can, the coverage is good. My 401k is in good hands. Now, some of you are looking at me like, what is he saying? This is ridiculous. We may not say this, but this is sometimes how we behave. We act as if the angel of death only lives in Gaza. People in the third world, they die drastically and dramatically. But here in America, we're safe. We will die peacefully, as they say. And anybody that knows anything about the world knows that there's, two things that are guaranteed: death and taxes. I have hope that one day maybe the taxes part will go away, but I have no hope that the death part will ever go away. You will die. That is a guarantee. Whether you're a Muslim or a Christian, a Hindu or an atheist or an agnostic, whether you're on the left, you're on the right, conservative, liberal, American, not American, immigrant, it doesn't matter. People die. And not a single one of us knows when we're going to die. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran, وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no soul knows what's going to happen to it tomorrow, and no soul knows where, on which land it will even die. You may have your plot already bought, and the grass is already growing on that place, and you have the bulldozer ready to dig your grave, but you have no clue. You could be like vacationing somewhere on the other side of the world, and you die there. And you don't know when you're going to die. But death will come for you, whether you're ready for it or not. It may not come today. It may not come tomorrow. But you are no more safe from death than the people of Gaza. The math doesn't seem to make sense, though. Well, there's bombs, there's war, there's a genocide going on. But the fact of the matter is, death comes wherever you are, whoever you are. And the events of last week, I don't make things political, but it shows you that whoever you are, no matter how famous or how influential you are, death can come to you suddenly out of nowhere. And it could be just, it could be unjust, it could be fair, it could be not fair, who cares? The fact of the matter is, you will die. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يُدْرِككُمُ الْمَوْتِ وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. Wherever you are, death will come for you, even if you are in lofty towers. You're in a huge fortress. Doesn't matter. You're going to die. It could be by disease. It could be by a heart attack. It could be by a simple accident. And listen, maybe it could be that you die of old age, but you will still die. And that fact needs to be internalized by every person here, because we need to live as though we are going to die. The issue is we live as though we are going to live forever. And Allah criticizes that in the Quran. يَوَدُّ أَحَدُهُمْ لَوْ يُعَمَّرُ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ وَمَا هُوَ بِمُزَحْزِحِهِ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ أَن يُعَمَّرَ. Allah describes those who reject the truth. He says they wish they could live for 1,000 years. But even if they lived 1,000 years, it's not going to save them from the punishment. It's not going to save them from death.